Hello everyone, I'm Drakshi Chopra, studying in International Institute of Professional Studies. This is my presentation over Java server pages guided by Dr. Nitin Naga sir. So let us dive into the presentation. It is about Java server pages. Introduction. What are Java server pages? So JSP is basically a collection of technology that helps in creating dynamically generated web pages, and we use JSP tags to insert Java code into HTML pages, and .jsp extension is used for these pages. Also, now the reason JSP pages are preferred over servlet nowadays is they are easy to maintain and no compilation or redeployment is required, and also it has access to the entire API of Java. This was about the introduction. So this was about JSP. Now we'll come to the topic JSP architecture. As the diagram is shown here, our browser sends an HTTP request to the web browser. Now this web browser recognizes the HTTP request and forwards it to the JSP engine. Now this is done by using URL or JSP page which ends with .jsp. Now further, this JSP engine loads the JSP page and converts it into servlet content and compiles the servlet into an executable class as written over here in the blue box, and compiles the servlet into executable class and forward the original request to a servlet engine. Now the servlet engine then loads the servlet class and executes it. Now during this all execution, servlet produces an output in the HTML format which is passed to the web server inside the HTTP response, as this blue line over here, which sends back the HTTP response. The web server now forwards the HTTP response and handles the dynamically generated HTML page inside the HTTP. Now these next two slides about the JSP architecture just shows what I just explained. Now let us move on to the next slide, which is JSP lifecycle. So these are the JSP lifecycle pages. Now JSP lifecycle is defined as the process that started with its creation and later translated to servlet. So this slide shows how the process goes till its destruction. So first it is in translation of the JSP page is done, then JSP page is compiled, then class loading is done, the class loader loads the class file. Instantiation, now object of this generated servlet is created, initialization where the container invokes in JSP init method, and then request processing where the container invokes JSP service method, and then destroy, which is JSP destroy method is invoked by container. Now these three are the life cycle methods of JSP. Now as depicted in this diagram, a JSP page is translated into the servlet by the help of JSP translator. Now what is JSP translator? It is responsible for translating JSP page into servlet. Now this servlet page is now compiled by the compiler and converted into the class file. Moreover, now all the processes that happened in servlet are performed on JSP, like initialization, then committing response to the browser, and then finally destroy. So now we will see how to create a simple JSP page. So here I have written this HTML code which will print hello world. So now we will save it by .jsp extension. I have saved it as first.jsp. Now I'll put it in a folder and paste the folder in the web apps directory in Apache Tomcat to run the JSP page. So we'll see how we set up this environment over here. So first we'll go to the Java program files. There we'll go into the JDK 8. Then we'll have the tools file, jar file over there in JDK library. We'll copy that and then we'll paste it in Tomcat 7.0. This tool files, as we can see, is pasted here. Now what we'll do, the page we created first.jsp, we will take it to the Tomcat, then web apps, then demo file over there, and then we'll paste it over there, first.jsp. Where as we have pasted the file over there, we'll see on our web browser, we will localhost on port number 8080. We'll run that and we will see here the output has been displayed, which is hello world as I wrote in my program. So this is how we created our first JSP page and we hosted as in we depicted the output here in the browser. So this was all about JSP. What we learned over here is We learned about the introduction, then its architecture, then the life cycle phases, and then we created our first JSP page and depicted or displayed it on the local browser. So this is the end of my assignment. Thank you so much for listening so patiently.